Hey friend, I am so glad to have you back. In our previous video, we talked about some pre-reading strategies. So the word pre means before, and we were thinking about things that we can do before we start reading. We want to really use our brain power as we're reading through our text to think deeply about the details and to start putting things together. So by pre-reading, we give ourselves an idea of what the text is about. We preview the text, we look at the title, we look at the genre and the structure, and that helps to situate our brains to be ready to read. Today, we are going to walk through annotating the text. So when I annotate, that means I take notes. I'm highlighting. I am jotting down the thoughts and things that come into my brain. I'm chunking the text. I'm allowing myself to stop and think about what's going on. This is major key in close reading, and it's major key in saving you time. Friend, if you are reading, especially for a specific purpose, so if I'm reading to answer questions, or if I'm reading to write about the text, or I'm reading for a specific discussion, maybe I'm going to a book club, maybe I'm reading to understand a topic better, maybe I'm researching, for whatever reason, specific purpose that I am reading a text. If I annotate and I am thinking about how to answer a specific question, I don't have to reread the whole text. I can look at the notes. I can look at the things that I highlight. I can look at the things that I jotted down as I was reading. So let's go ahead. We are going to jump straight into reading this text, thinking about the structure of this text. So this text is called A Winning Visit. It is a fiction text. That means it is fake. And during our pre-reading, we determined that it was a story. So that means it is going to follow that narrative arc where we have that beginning, middle, end. It's going to have characters, setting, and plot. It's going to have a problem and a solution. So that's what we're thinking about. That's what we are really kind of focusing our brain on, as well as thinking about the theme or the lesson that occurs in the story. Let's get into this reading. So now I am ready to go ahead and jump into reading this text, thinking about character, setting, plot, theme, problem, solution. Let's get it. When Beth and Mrs. Higgins, so I'm thinking these are characters, arrived at the library setting, it was obvious that Beth did not want to be there. Ooh, already coming across a problem. They're at the library and Beth does not want to be there. Okay, so this feels like a problem here. In fact, she was dreading it. She was dragging her feet in the parking lot, and her mother kept telling her to hurry up. They had come to find information for a school project. Okay, so I know she's coming to the library to find information for a school project. At the same time, Beth's soccer team was getting together at Amina's house, and Beth would have rather been there with her friends. The team was having a planning session in preparation for an upcoming tournament. Beth had a few ideas. Ooh, I like this. She had a few ideas. This is telling me a little bit about her character. So she's not just a girl to sit on the team, but she's someone who's opinionated, who thinks about what the team should be doing. She had a few ideas to strengthen the team's defense and wanted to share them. Plus, who wanted to go to a library on such a beautiful day? I'm going to make note of this right now because we just learned a lot. So Beth seems to be the main character, and she has this issue that she is being forced by Mrs. Higgins, which I'm assuming, I'm going to infer is her mom. Beth's mom forces her to go to the library. Okay, so this is really what we are learning and taking from this first paragraph here. And I'm also going to put a little heart here, and I am going to say heart soccer, because we also learned that she hearts soccer. And I'm going to start this idea here too, because she has a few ideas. So if I have a question that comes up about character, I'm already starting to think about Beth's character and her feelings about soccer, right? Let's go ahead and read paragraph 2. Beth, come on, said her mother. Confirm, that's her mother. Her mother had, let me go back and explain my thinking, because I had thought that Mrs. Higgins was her mother since she was taking her to the library. And it didn't seem like it was a school day since all of her friends were like hanging out at the house talking about soccer. So when it says her mother here, I'm confirming my thinking that Miss Higgins is her mother. Beth, come on, said her mother. Her mother had insisted that Beth get a good start on her project. It wasn't due for a few weeks, but a solid start was important, explained Mrs. Higgins. I'm coming, Beth said as she followed her mother through the library's doors. I don't understand why I need to look up information in such an old-fashioned way. Can I use the internet at home? This, again, is telling me about Beth's character. It seems like she is very opinionated. She has a very strong personality where she is offering opinions, she's offering suggestions, and she has a way of like how she wants to do things. Your teacher, Mr. Shah, went to a lot of effort to explain the project to librarians here so they could help you find materials. They want you to be successful and complete a great project, said Mrs. Higgins, not finding her daughter's complaint very convincing. The two of them head over to the youth service desk to ask for advice. Beth couldn't help but look around at all the displays, posters, computers, and shelves of books. She was gazing at a particularly interesting display when she heard a voice. How can I help you? Asked the woman behind the counter. Her name tag said Miss Sanchez. I am going to assume Mrs. Sanchez, this is another character. Maybe she's going to play a big role in the text. Let's keep reading. Mrs. Higgins gave Beth's shoulder a gentle nudge. So her mom continues to push her about things. I think that. So if we have a question about Mrs. Higgins, we know she is really pushing Beth to get this project done. She's probably a parent where school is very important to her. I'm looking for a book for a school project, Beth said. What is your topic? Asked Miss Sanchez brightly. This sounds like figurative language here. This is something that I know a lot of my friends often struggle with. So when I see it, I try to identify it, because figurative language is when the text does not literally mean what it says. She's not bright. It's not like she turned a light on inside of herself. When this happened, it's just saying that she said that brightly. She said it she's happy, or she's eager, she's excited. So what is your topic? Asked Mrs. Sanchez brightly. With a place to start, we can find anything we need on any topic in the library. So this sounds like Mrs. Sanchez is very helpful. She seems like she kind of likes her job. She seems like she's the librarian, and she likes helping people find the information they need. It has to be on a hobby. I don't collect anything. I don't do crafts. I don't birdwatch. I don't have any hobbies, Beth replied. But she likes soccer, so it seems like soccer is a hobby that Beth has. I wonder, this is me guessing now, because I know, or not guessing, but predicting, because I know that a fiction text, we have a problem and we have a solution. I'm wondering if Miss Sanchez, who is asking Beth all these questions, is going to be a part of the solution. If maybe she's going to help Beth to see that soccer is a hobby, and maybe Beth will actually enjoy doing the project a little bit more when she can talk about something that she likes, or that she's so passionate about, like soccer. Mr. Shah wanted students to create a poster and write 5 paragraphs about a hobby that was important to them. They were supposed to focus on its history and how it was enjoyed by people around the world. Okay, so she has to write her essay on a hobby. Miss Sanchez looked at Beth and simply asked what she liked to do. That was easy. Soccer. I like to play soccer. Beth replied immediately with no hesitation. In fact, Beth lived and breathed soccer. Here's more figurative language. Did she live and breathe soccer? No, she lives and breathes oxygen. But it's saying that soccer is like super important to her, like she can't live without it. She played on a traveling team, and the next tournament was coming up in 3 weeks. Well, let me show you these new videos we just added to our collection, said Mrs. Sanchez. They show some professional players demonstrating tips and skills about how to score goals and defend the goal. Really? Beth exclaimed. When someone exclaims something, they're feeling a strong emotion, like they might be exclaiming something happily or like in an angry manner. I know Beth loves soccer, so I'm going to think like she's happy right now. She's like, oh my God, like you guys have soccer stuff? She readily followed Miss Sanchez to a set of shelves. There on the shelf were dozens of videos on sports, along with several books and encyclopedias. There were even magazines about sports available and ready to be checked out. I had no idea the library would have so many different ways to learn about sports. That's cool. Okay. Looking here, this is getting to a theme. So I know when I'm reading a fiction text, I'm thinking about what's the lesson that the character's going to learn. How's the character going to change in the story? She went from stupid library, this is so dumb, I should be at home, I should be with my friends talking about soccer, to wow, this is cool. So I'm seeing Beth change. Maybe a theme we could take is like, don't judge a situation before you experience it, or be open to new things. It doesn't seem like Beth and her mom go to the library a lot, so maybe like she's learning that she should be open to new experiences, or that she can learn from other people. Mrs. Sanchez came and she helped Beth learn about like how much information and different things that she could find in the library that she did not know about before. So maybe that could be a possible theme of the story. I'm looking at when did the character change, and then I'm going in and I'm looking for those moments where I see my character changing, and I'm thinking, what has the character learned? I know fiction text. I need to start thinking about theme as I'm reading a fiction text. Here is an example of how we see theme in a text. You can learn. Oh, wait. I had no idea the library would have so many different ways to learn about sports. That's cool, Beth said with enthusiasm. You can learn about anything in a library, Mrs. Sanchez said. She smiled at Beth and headed back to the desk. Thank you, called Mrs. Higgins in appreciation. So Mrs. Higgins appreciates what Mrs. Sanchez did. Beth checked out 2 videos starring some of her favorite players. She went home and watched them. They were jam-packed with great so she checked out something. She was like stupid library at first, and then she checked out something, so that's showing how she changed. They were jam-packed with great tips and instructions in advanced skills. She was glad that the library loaned out videos for a whole week so that she could watch them more than once. She is really into this. She also checked out an encyclopedia on sports and found interesting facts about the history of soccer. She got information she needed about countries around the globe where soccer was popular. Beth's final project showed all that she learned about soccer, and she was proud. She was proud when Mr. Shaw complimented her on it. Best of all, she used one of the tips she learned in her research during the tournament. So she's not just reading about these things, but she is also learning from them and applying that. So she's like applying that to her soccer game. I bet you Beth is super proud of herself for that. Thanks to the library, she scored a goal for her team. So what happened in this text? We see Beth. She is big mad about having to go to the library. Mom forces her to go to the library, even though she'd rather be with her friends talking about soccer. She ends up meeting Mrs. Sanchez at the library. Mrs. Sanchez helps her to find some resources and books and things about soccer. And Beth learns that soccer is not that bad. That the library is not that bad. And she even learns things from the library that helps her to score a goal for her soccer team, which is her true passion. So now let's go ahead. So you guys see how I am using the things that I did for my pre-reading when I asked myself those questions about title, genre, structure. Those things help to guide me as I was reading this text. And in the second part of this video, you are also going to see me using a lot of those things that we jotted down, that we noted, that we highlighted to help us to answer the questions. All right, y'all, so that is how I go through and annotate the text, really focusing on the text structure and genre, really thinking about, okay, this is a fiction story. So thinking about the character, the setting, the plot of the story, and also thinking about theme. And I know that these are really huge story elements. These are big parts in a story. So if I am thinking about those things and I'm continuously asking myself questions about that, I am really helping myself for whatever my next step is, for whatever your purpose of reading is. And you guys will see quite clearly in the video, because it's a 3-part video. So you'll see in part 3 how we use our annotations to really help us understand the questions and how it makes our lives so much easier when we are answering the questions. Y'all, these are like the keys to success, especially when I am thinking about deeply understanding a text and being able to talk knowledgeably about a text, being able to answer questions, to write about a text as I am reading through it. So y'all stay tuned for part 3. I will go ahead and put the card above, and I will also link it down below in the description.